21 St. March 2022 at 1:11 p.m., Flight MU 5735 took off from Kunming, China. It was a 2 hours long normal passenger flight to Guangzhou, a city in southeast China. But about an hour after taking off, at 2:20 p.m., this plane started losing altitude rapidly. It comes crashing down. Normally, if there's any technical problems in plane, or if there's any problem with the engine. For such cases, aeroplanes are designed so that they glide while descending. They come down at the speed of a few thousand feet in a minute. But this aeroplane fell from a height of nearly 30,000 feet, within 1 minute 35 seconds. Normally this is the speed at which skydivers descends out of a plane. But here, a large passenger jet started falling vertically. And in less than 2 minutes, it crashed into a hill. When this aeroplane was in a nose dive, this scene was captured on a camera from after. It is clearly shown in this video footage that the plane was falling vertically. It was in a nosedive. The passengers of the plane die. It is believed that this crash is one of the worst airplane disaster in China. This plane crash has shocked air crash investigators and experts all around the world. You can see the data from Flight Radar 24 on this chart. It shows the altitude of the plane during its flight. Initially, the plane took off normally. That's the slope you see at the beginning. It maintained an altitude of 29,000 feet for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. And then suddenly at 2:20 p.m. that plane comes crashing down rapidly. But there's something strange in chart. At the altitude of about 8,000 feet, while falling, it regains some altitude before falling again. It's being said that any type of explanation can be possible. It's possible that the engine of the plane malfunctioned, or the plane suffered from a technical problem. It's also possible that the PLA wanted to commit suicide, or that there was a terrorist attack on the plane, or the PLA had fainted, or even a weather-related problem. The search and rescue teams are trying to locate the black box and crash recorders of the plane. They're also trying to locate the people who were on the plane. There could be survives. But we have the weather report during the crash. According to the China Meteorological Administration, that day, at the place of the crash, at 2 in the afternoon the temperature of the place was around 30 degrees Celsius. Moderate winds were blowing as normal. It was forecasted that it would rain in the evening. It hadn't rained before the crash. And the visibility was more than 10 miles. So the weather conditions then weren't unusual. The weather was absolutely normal. The problem is that it is raining heavily now, so the search and rescue teams are facing problems in locating these black boxes. Today, on 23 March, because of the rain, they had to temporarily stop the searching. Apart from this, the site of the crash is surrounded by hills and a thick forest. Reaching there and looking for evidence isn't easy. Normally, the flight data recorder and the voice data recorders are built to be crash-proof. But would they be intact after a crash like this? It's a big question. One of the 2 black boxes has found by these search teams. Thought the box was damaged from the outside, but the internal records are said to be intact. This black box has been sent to Beijing for further investigation. Aviation expert Neil Hansford says that the chances of this crash being an accident are very low. In this opinion, it is highly unlikely that it was an accident. The plane fell like a rock from the sky. If this crash was because of an accident, it would have been an unimaginable accident. Perhaps both wings of the plane fell off. Or a missile struck the plane. Or that the plane collided with something in the air. Only would the plane have fallen so. If none of these events happened, then it's highly possible that it was done by the pilot. Or by someone on the plane that took over the control from the PLA. American Federal Aviation investigator Michael Daniel. Believe the same. He says that this crash was most likely a foul play. Someone did this intentionally. Boeing 737 MAX was an upgraded model of the Boeing 737-800. The newer model of the Boeing G company. For it, they claimed that they increased the efficiency of the engine of the plane. And to reduce the noise inside the plane, they shifted the engine of the plane a little to the front. At the front of the wings. But by changing the position of the plane's engine, there were aerodynamic problems with the plane. Especially when the flight conditions were unusual, and the weather wasn't right. To solve this problem, Boeing had installed a special software. Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, MCAS. But this special software didn't work as expected. The MCAS got activated by mistake. Due to this incorrect activation, the nose of the plane dipped down. A PLA from Boeing criticized the company, saying that when the new Model 737 MAX was launched, the company had claimed that the PLA, who had the certification of flying the 737-800, they'd have to undergo a minor computer course to be trained to fly 737 MAX. But the training of flying 737 MAX given to the pilots was insufficient. Later, it was found that the Federal Aviation Administration of the U.S. wasn't properly informed by Boeing about the new system. Due to the reasons, in January 2021, the Department of Justice of the U.S. found that Boeing had tried to defraud the government of the USA, and so they would need to pay a fine of $2.5 billion. But honestly, in the event we're discussing today, this isn't one of the reasons. Because the plane that crashed in China was of the 737-800 model, not 737 MAX. The Boeing 737-800 model is being used for years. It's a reliable plane model. It is considered to be one of the safest passenger jets. Most likely scenario is that the pilot crashed this plane intentionally. And thus, the biggest question is, why did the pilot do so? Several conspiracy theories have started emerging across Chinese social media. In one of the most popular conspiracy theories, America is actually being blamed. It's being said that in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, because China did not take a clear stand against Russia, America caused this to happen in China. Chinese social media users are coming up with these conspiracy theories. The most used models of Boeing planes, Boeing 737-600/700/800/900 models. This chances of them crashing is at 0.07 crashes per million flights. So every 1 million flights in the world, only 0.07 of them would result in a crash. The chance of the plane crash is so negligible. It sees the number of flight a model has completed, and the number of crashes. Everybody notice one thing: it is either because of a technical fault in the software, or it is a deliberate action of the pilot. Crashes because of bad weather or hijacking have little to no chance of happening.